We are back with another arc from Black Clover, and we finished the Seabed Temple arc. This arc really stepped up the game for Black Clover, and I now understand why everyone was calling it Peak Clover, because there were some pretty epic moments that pushed our characters forward and just had Asta being a goddamn badass. From the action to the character moments, everyone got their time to shine, and we even got to learn more about Vanessa, Finral, and Noelle. And I really like how they set this up and how they showed the threat of the Eye of the Midnight Suns, and I can't wait to see how they explore that even more, because I feel like we're just hitting the surface level for what's to come from this group and our characters growing into these more prominent roles as they get stronger in this world. So in this video, we're going to talk about the main plot, the challenges the characters went through, the new characters that were introduced, character development for our main Black Bulls, how Asta affects his squad, and how the squad dynamic changed during this arc, as well as how the world building kept growing and growing and growing during it, and some of the details I noticed during it, plus the resolution and impact on the story. I feel like that's a lot to cover, but we'll see how it goes as we talk about the Seabed Temple arc. And the arc started off pretty tame. Noelle gets a little bit of an upgrade as she surpasses her limits and gets her squad down into the underwater temple. When we got down there, it really seemed like it was very ominous. Something bad was gonna happen. You got this underwater temple that seems like no one's around, and you know, what kind of dangers are we gonna run into? Because we've gone into this really dangerous dungeon before. I felt like the underwater temple was gonna be the same thing. However, instead, it was actually a really cool place with a bunch of really nice people who liked seeing visitors come in. And I really liked meeting the high priest, and he led into this really fun temple battle royale, which seemed like it was gonna be really cool, where the Black Bulls were easily defeating these guys. They're just gonna mop the floor with them like no tomorrow. But then, of course, the real threat actually shows up. Veto comes in from the third eye and takes over, taking down each of the Black Bulls one by one. And I really like how that added the challenges to this arc. And as we talk about the challenges from this arc, we have Noelle needing to learn how to control her magic, and that's a big step for her because she's never really been able to do that. She's able to get them down to the temple safely, which is a big step in the right direction. As she goes through the temple battle royale, she slowly learns how to control it more as she's fighting with Kahono and when she has to protect her squad from Veto. So it was a big step for her learning how to actually properly use her magic, and I really liked how they pushed her character forward. And when we talk about the Black Bulls and versus the Temple Mages, like I said, it seemed like the fights were just gonna have the Black Bulls win without a problem, especially since Magna, Luck, Asta, Gauche, and Vanessa all beat their enemies easily. Charmy was the only one that really got knocked out, but that's okay because she had her time to shine later. And when Veto and the Eye of the Midnight Suns came in, that was the biggest challenge because of how powerful Veto was. We saw in the last arc how Veto was able to go face to face with the captains, and I think it made us all wonder, how is it even gonna be possible for the Black Bulls to go against this super OP character while Yami's locked away to watch his squad fight? Because Veto just single-handedly took out Luck and Magna, which their fight was pretty cool because you can see Luck and Magna putting everything they had into the fight, and I really liked how they realized they were best friends and everything during it as well. But then they got taken down. Veto almost killed Asta, which was another big thing where he just kept pushing himself to the brink of death in order to protect his friends, and I really liked how that showed what Asta was willing to do. Plus, then we had Kyoto and Kahono get absolutely demolished by Veto as well. So it just showed how strong Veto was one by one. He just took out people like no problem, and it really took the entire squad to defeat him. But before we get too far into all the epicness, we have to talk about the new characters introduced in this arc, because the main two are Kyoto and Kahono. And I mean, they're probably the most important to the plot out of the other characters that were introduced, like their father, their grandfather, because they really focused on them, with Kahono befriending Asta and Noelle and telling Noelle her dream, and also just becoming good friends with her during this short period of time. And all Kahono wants to do is go up to the Clover Kingdom and sing and be this idol. And I like how you also had Kyoto, who has a dream to dance in front of everyone, doing the same thing his sister is. He befriends Asta in their initial fight, even teaching Asta how to not think, clear his mind, and continue to fight so that it's hard for his opponents to judge his attack. So I like how they had a little bit of a bonding session there. However, it kind of sucks that it didn't last long enough because he got his leg cut off. Plus, with their introduction as well as their grandfather, we got more magic during this arc. There's song magic, dance magic, and games magic. Now I'm just kind of getting lost to where this goes within all the tiers, because when it was just elements, that made sense. Now we're getting into song, dance, games. I am very interested to see what other magic we see, because I feel like this is not the end, and there's going to be some weirder shit we see in the future. But as we go forward during this arc, of course, we're going to have the main character development for our main characters, especially with Asta and Noelle. Asta continues to adapt as he fights his enemies and finds new ways to fight. Like I just said with Kyoto, he learns how to clear his head and move with the flow, so it makes his attacks unpredictable. And I really like how he continues to inspire his team by never backing down and taking one hell of a beating to show his true strength. No matter how many times he gets knocked down, he just stands right back up. Even though he's literally almost dying, he's gonna do whatever he can to make sure that people he cares about come out on top. And I really like how Asta did that. And he just kept pushing his character, and that's one of the things I really like about characters like this, is they never stop. They keep pushing, they get knocked down, and they get right back up. And I think that's what makes a really good main character, is someone who motivates people around him and tries to be the true hero. And I love how this arc really set up the stage for Asta's demon mode. They only gave it a hint. It wasn't fully shown, but we had the flash of the scar on his face. We had that ominous figure behind him as he was approaching Veto, and we haven't seen anything like that since literally the first handful of episodes in the first arc. So I really like how we finally got back to that. After like 40 episodes, we're finally seeing more to what's going on with Asta's other side. And I loved how that made Veto think they were similar for a second, but also realizing that Asta is a demon who devours despair, kind of putting it in a sense where Asta has something in him that is an actual enemy to the Eye of the Midnight Sun. He is their predator in a sense, where he will be the one to take them down because he has the anti-magic that goes against them, and whatever's inside of him wants to come out and fight. So I'm really interested to seeing what's going to happen there. And I know it might not be, inside of him, it's within his grimoire, but do the same. It's the same. It's going to be cool. Even with Vanessa and Finral helping him, he got faster, he got more powerful, and he was able to slice and dice Veto and just not give up, because no one is going to stop him from becoming a Wizard King. And I love how they even show Yuno is the one motivating Asta as well during this, because he knows he can't fall behind. He has to keep getting stronger because he has to beat Yuno. He has to be in line with his rival, his brother. He needs to do that. And I love how that just continues to show that the people around Asta too will motivate him to become stronger, risking their lives to save him, or their lives being at risk, or even them surpassing him, and he can't let that happen. He will continue to fight and become stronger so that he can become Wizard King. And it's just so great to watch that happen on screen, because it just motivates you too. You see this character who never gives up and keeps going, and you want to be like that. Now, when we talk about other characters getting their growth during this, we definitely have Noelle, who grew a lot during this arc, because she always saw herself as a failure. She never had the strength. She had her family's words going in her head, making her doubt herself. Where in this arc, she really learns that the Black Bulls will support her. They care about her, and that they're not going to tell her that she's not good enough. No, they're going to tell her that she's doing a great job and that she'll keep doing good as she continues to progress through this world. Just like how they cheered for her when she was able to make the spear to bring him into the ocean. And I like how they added little things during this too, like why she's not good at controlling her magic is because she doesn't want to hurt people. And it shows that she's good-hearted. She doesn't want to hurt people. But when it comes down to it, when she knows her friends are in danger, she was able to unlock one powerful attack that literally ripped off Veto's arm, which I did not see that coming from Noelle. That was something that came out of nowhere. A girl that could never control her magic, she pulls out one awesome move to almost decimate Veto in one shot. Now, the only bad thing is he's way too powerful for her to be able to take him down like that, but I loved how that showed where she was coming from. When push comes to shove, you threaten someone's friends, and they will finally unlock that true power that they've been holding back the entire time. Now, one of the things I wasn't expecting to learn this arc was stuff from Vanessa and Finral, because we keep seeing Vanessa as like this drunk. We've seen her drink throughout episode after episode, but in this, you really learn that she even doubts herself because she calls herself a drunk. But then you have Asta never giving up, making her realize that she can't give up either. We have this kid with no mana fighting. She has to step up as well. And I really like how they gave us a little hint to her backstory here, where she felt weak, trapped in a cage in the Forest of Witches until someone broke her out, because the Queen of Witches wouldn't let her leave. And I'm assuming it was Yami that broke her out. It was kind of hard to tell with the silhouette, but the next arc is called Forest of Witches, so we kind of know where we're going here. We're going into Vanessa's backstory and where she came from, which I'm actually really looking forward to, because the way the arc started off, it doesn't really make much sense. But I am really excited to see her character grow as well, because I love learning about each individual Black Bull, just like how we learned about Finral, where Finral is a scaredy cat. He runs away. He never really steps up to be in this fight. He realizes he needs to during this arc because his squad needs him, and he sees Asta continue to fight, and he can't just stand by and let this kid sacrifice himself when he knows he could help him. And I love how we find out that he doesn't want to hurt people, and he's also a royal. He's from the House of Vod, which I was not expecting him to also be from a royal family. I was expecting him to be like everyone else who seems like an outcast. Or he is an outcast because his younger brother Langris was stronger and was willing to progress more by being violent, where Finral wasn't a violent person. He's more of a support character, because Langris is the vice captain of the Golden Dawn, where Finral isn't the vice captain of the Black Bulls. So it really shows their power difference and how they are. But he doubted himself because of this. He couldn't defeat his enemies. But then you had Yami telling him that he needs to find his own way of using his magic. Don't try to be like your family. Just showing again how the Black Bulls do things differently. They're not going to do things the way everyone expects them to do it. And I can't wait to see where they push Finral's character, because the next arc also starts off with Langris and the Golden Dawns going against the Diamond Kingdom, and both Finral, Charmy, Asta, and Yami are going to go with them. So I'm hoping to see some interaction with his younger brother and to see how that goes. And speaking of Yami, even though he was trapped and coaching from the sidelines this entire arc, they had one major thing pushing him forward, where he was backed into a corner. He had to save his squad, and by doing that, he was able to unlock a new spell and cut through spatial magic, literally cutting through space. It shows how much he cares about them. He's not about to lose them, and he's gonna surpass his own limits in order to save them. So I really like where that pushed Yami's character, and I'm sure there's so much more to come. Plus, we got, like I said earlier, we have Magna and Luck. You know, they might have picked on each other, they fight each other, but they both realize that they're best friends. They both fight each other because of that, and I really like how that shows. And where we didn't really get the sense that they were best friends at first, they really just kind of added that to add to their characters during this plot as well. So I think that was great, and I really like how these characters grew, especially with how Asta affected each one of them, because we had Asta saving Noelle from Veto by never giving up. He managed to motivate his squad so that they all surpassed their limits as they fought one of the strongest enemies they've ever faced. And with that, we had Vanessa and Finral supporting Asta, moving him around to avoid Veto's attacks, because Asta was their secret weapon with his anti-magic. So being able to control him and make him move really quickly through spatial magic and using the threads really helped their strategy. And Asta continuing to fight no matter what motivated both those characters to keep pushing through their magic being used up, keep pushing through the pain that they had to deal with, just so that Asta won't die and so they could finish off the bad guy. And I love how Asta trusted both of them, even though both of them didn't think he would. They were both shocked by it. They didn't see themselves in any kind of highlight. So when you have Asta continuing to motivate his squad, being like, no, you're not worthless, I trust you, I think you're doing a great job, it really shows how this kid, who hasn't really been with them that long, trusts his squad because they're part of the same team. And I think it's doing a really good job. Because of Asta's determination, he's able to not only motivate his squad to keep fighting, but it shows them that they are strong, that they're not weak like they think, that they should stop doubting themselves. So I really like how they did that as well. But with that, let's now go into the world building, because we got more hints into that, and you know I gotta love my world building, and it's absolutely fantastic when more plot threads blow right open, like how we had Noelle talking about a story that her grandma told her when she was young about fiends and the giant demon that attacked the Clover Kingdom, the one we see in almost every intro where the first Wizard King took it out. And they definitely empathize during the story while Noelle was talking about it, how these fiends attacked the kingdom by summoning the giant demon, and then the first Wizard King took it down, showing that these guys have been the bad guys the entire time. However, one thing I've learned from watching shows, movies, and our own history is that the winners usually write how the stories are told. It makes the Eye of the Midnight Suns the bad guys. It obviously shows what they did was wrong by attacking all these innocent people, but we really haven't got that added info yet about what's really going on. My thought too is that the giant demon they summoned might have been in retaliation to the Clover Kingdom slaughtering their people, because then we saw Veto and Lick's moments where Veto saw humans killing animals and was enraged, just showing how he's connected to nature and how he sees this as them being bad guys, where he thinks life is precious and shouldn't be destroyed, which is kind of the opposite where he is now, because he's been corrupted and changed. And you have Lick feeling like they could live with the humans one day, because, you know, they're elves. We're getting there. We're getting close to them revealing the elves and everything else going on with them. We've seen their ears. Only elves have pointy ears, and that's what I'm still going off of. Then you have the humans who slaughtered them, and that's how Veto's rage was born. So it's showing that something happened here where one side picked the fight first, which I'm thinking it might have been the Clover Kingdom that started the fight, because we saw that light magic was what killed all these people, which we did see the first Wizard King use. So it's like showing these little hints that the Clover Kingdom might actually be the bad guys this entire time, where the Eye of the Midnight Sun is actually retaliating on these, but also it might not be as simple as that, where it's just two conflicting sides who went to war, where there's casualties on both sides, and now after generations, because of how the stories have been written, that's where one side thinks they're good and one thinks they're bad. So I can't wait to see what's going on with this story, because as we dive more and more into it, more of the plot threads open, and it just keeps adding some cool stuff happening in the story. Plus, when we talk about world building, we also got, like I said earlier, new types of magic: song, dance, and games. Again, something that doesn't really fit in the tree that we've seen, but it adds some new interesting stuff to the story. Plus, with the Underwater Temple, they weren't allowed in the capital, showing the discrimination and showing how these people who are not from the mainland are seen differently and aren't allowed in the kingdom. They're not so different from the people on the mainland. They seem normal, they seem nice, they don't seem like they're gonna attack, so it just feels like a lot of discrimination where someone's a foreigner, they're not welcome where they're not from. But also, when they set up this arc with the Wizard King, They literally said that it's going to be dangerous. They didn't mention that there's a community or people living down there. And that means if these people aren't allowed in the capital, the Wizard King and others knew of their existence, but didn't let Yami and the squad know. So I think that's like a little bit of interesting detail where they had stuff that they're leaving out, which seems like important stuff that they should inform their squad beforehand, but they don't. It makes me wonder if the Wizard King had his own kind of plot going on where he was hoping that the Black Bulls would mess up and possibly take out some of these guys thinking that they're the enemies, or if they thought that the underwater temple guys would attack right away rather than letting them in and just playing games.
And you know what's funny? As I'm finding footage for this, I kind of realized something. What if the Wizard King actually sent Yami because he knew he wouldn't attack them, and if he sent any of the other squads because they feel they're more superior than others, they might have attacked these people and taken them down, and that's why the Black Bulls went instead, because they're outcasts.
So very interesting how this story is going to go, and with that, let's talk about the details I noticed, because like I said, that was a detail I noticed, so let's talk about some more. And one of the things is how the Black Bulls, even though they are strong, they are even stronger when they work together. Because what I've noticed so far from watching this series, even though we have support teams, a lot of the stronger characters tend to fight on their own. Where the Black Bulls, they're all pretty strong and they like to fight on their own, but when they work together, they actually could do a lot of support moves, especially because you had Finral and Vanessa using their different types of magic to support Asta. You have Threads being able to pull them, and spatial magic to make them pop up all over the place. And then you have Ghost, Charmy, and Gray, who also did a great job at supporting their team. Ghost using his mirror magic that's able to shoot all the reflections, Gray being able to transform things into Asta's to make a distraction, and the fact that Gray can turn things into other things is an actual great move. It feels like a really powerful magic that would be perfect for support, because you could easily set up distractions as you transform an object across the room to make it look like the enemy. Plus, you got Charmy just being her awesome self, using her magic to summon her giant sheep to attack. So I really like how when they worked as a team, they were actually super strong to be able to do that. And of course, we can't forget Luck and Magna using combo attacks to fight Veto and showing how strong they can really be, even though they did get taken out. Now, the other thing I noticed has to do with Nero, where Nero's magic stone that we saw from the first arc wasn't in his nest anymore when Yami and Asta were going to see the Wizard King. So something is going on there, because they focused on that nest to show that it wasn't there. It makes me wonder, where did it really go? Plus, Asta finally realized that the stone he got in the very first arc is a magic stone, or at least he's starting to realize that he might have a magic stone in him. So I really like how they set that up, because that was just like a little detail, like you blink and you miss it. And I really like how they set that up, because there's like little details here and there I've been noticing that really push the plot forward, and where some more mysterious things might be going on. And I will always remember the main magic stone plot, because that's something I keep coming back to ever since the first arc, and I really like where we're going. Now, let's get into the final parts of this video where we talk about the resolution and the impact on the story, where one of the things we got to start off with is Gray's true form and how her transformation magic works. We finally see it. Her true form is just a girl. It's not this giant guy, and I wasn't expecting the entire squad to not know what she looked like, so that was a big surprise to me. And the fact that she's embarrassed from her true look is really interesting, and I've already heard that we won't find out more about her until way later. That kind of sucks, because I do want to learn more about her and why she's embarrassed, and also, I want to know more about her transformation magic, because she's able to turn objects into other things, and she literally made a barrage of Astas. So I really like how they set that up. Something that I'm really looking forward to seeing more in the future of. I mean, of course, one of the biggest things to happen from this is Veto being defeated in that epic fight with Asta, having his demon mode come out a little bit and showing how strong he could be. And also having Yami come in, doing one awesome move and slicing the dude in half. So they were able to take down one of the third eyes, even though we saw last arc that it was extremely hard to fight these guys. They were actually able to take them down. It did take all their strength, but they managed it. And again, the fight was just awesome. Everything about that fight was amazing, and I loved it. My question out of this is, how is Lick gonna react to his friend being killed? Because I feel like we've seen him kind of lose control and almost send off a bunch of magic power. So now I feel like he's gonna snap even more, because Veto seemed to be a close friend of his after we got that little flashback. And after he died, I thought it was interesting that Nero was leading Asta to Yami, who is paying his respects to Veto. Because why is this bird bringing him there? There's so much more to Nero that I need to know about, and I feel like there's something going on with that bird. He's been hanging out for a while, he likes the magic stones, and he's even leading Asta to the dead body of their enemy. But I really like that scene, because it showed how Yami was paying his respects, but also setting up that he knows a little bit more than he's letting on, especially after Asta pays his respects himself and turns around and says, you know, he can't forgive Veto for what he did, but he understands that there's something that Veto can't forgive the humans for doing. He knows that there's a reason, and he wants to understand it. Then you have Yami telling him not to focus on it and to focus on his dream instead. And I mean, it could be because Yami's trying to tell him not to focus and looking into the evil of others, and that some people might do stuff because there's no reason to it. However, I think Yami might know a little bit more than he's letting on, so that Asta doesn't kind of go off the rails and do something that he probably shouldn't right away. Not until he gets more information, at least. Now, with the magic stone also being recovered after this arc, I was not expecting the temple mages to not even know what it was, but also the fact that Nero was able to find it and just bring it straight to them means they could have avoided all that fighting and just had Nero grab the stone and they could have left, which I think is kind of funny, but also Nero is the magic stone finding bird, and it just added a little bit of comedy to this more sad episode, with them kind of paying the respects to Veto and all that. And like I said earlier, during the fight with Asta and Veto, Veto comments on how Asta has a similar power within him, and Asta being a demon that devours despair. I feel like that's setting up Asta being the secret weapon, like always, to taking down the Eye of the Midnight Suns, because there's something with him and that demon that definitely wants to take down what's going on. It definitely gives him the power to continue to fight and take down the bad guys. So it makes me wonder what's going on, and really I can't think of what could work here, and I can't wait to see it get revealed, because it has to get revealed soon enough. And by soon enough, I feel like probably another 30-40 episodes. And also probably the biggest thing to come out of this arc is that the Black Bulls went against their biggest enemy yet, and they came back without losing a single member. Yami got stronger, and everyone else did as well. Even at the end of this arc, it showed how people doubted the Wizard King for making Yami a captain. So I like how they added a little in there, showing that the Wizard King continues to trust Yami, believes in him, and knows how strong he is. So I really like that. And it just continues to push these characters forward and do so much more for them. Now with that, let's wrap up this arc, because this arc really set the stage for Black Clover and really showed how the Black Bulls can work as a team. And now they've survived a life-threatening fight without losing a single member, and it can only get more intense from here. The Eye of the Midnight Sun was probably going after them already because of the magic stone Asta already had, but now that Veto has been killed, they're going to be gunning for the Black Bulls because they're going to want to get revenge for their dead comrade, which just keeps adding more and more stakes to this anime, and I love it. Plus, we got each character getting their moment to shine and really developing them, and I can't wait to see more of that development as we go, because each character had a little bit this arc, other than our main one, of course. It can only get more from here, because every arc it feels like they add something to each character, and it's just going to keep coming. And I mean, the next arc will most likely focus on Vanessa's backstory and her character growth, because it's called the Witch's Forest arc. I'm at least assuming that she'll be going with them to the Witch's Forest, and that'll be a big thing for her character, because they set it up in this arc. And I can't wait to see what happens next. This anime has been absolutely fantastic. I understand why it's called Peak Clover now, and I can't wait for more Peak to come. So let me know, what did you think of this arc? Was there anything I missed that you want to talk about? Let me know down in the comments. And thanks for watching this arc discussion. I will be trying to get out anime reactions soon, so make sure you stay tuned for that as we start the next arc for Black Clover. So, and if you want to see more of my Black Clover videos, make sure to hit the like and the subscribe button to stay up to date with all of those. So thanks again for watching. I'll talk to you later when we watch another episode of Black Clover.